When it comes to digital products and informational products, I'm a fiend. I'm willing to pay the creators who I follow a decent amount of money for them to give me all the knowledge that is required in a given subject. So, a couple of months ago, I wanted to learn how LinkedIn worked. So, after scrounging YouTube and some internet sources, I came across this guy called Justin Welch. He had this product which he was promoting in one of his podcasts called LinkedIn Operating System. And I took it, and it was actually very good. As you can see, it's very highly rated. But the thing which caught my eyes was this image right here. If you see from a business point of view, the way he's designed it, it's like you are getting a physical product to your hands. So that led me into this deep rabbit hole on how to create this. So after researching and going through a lot of resources, I came across this site where you could do that. But as you can see, there's not much you can do here. You can just put in the image here, and you can do the same thing for the spine side of the book. But other than that, you can't do much. You can't change the background, you can't change the angle in which you want to take the image. So there's not much you can do with this. So then I thought to myself, can I hire a contractor to do this for me? So then I went to Fiverr. So in Fiverr, I found out this guy who was able to design some cool digital products, but he charged $15, which is quite a lot for one product. So then, us being an engineer and all, as in my opinion, all humans are engineers, because engineers are just someone who can find solutions to complex problems. If you look at it from that point of view, all humans who can think are engineers. So then I thought to myself, can I deliver the same thing with a lesser cost and a higher output? Meaning you can design a higher volume of these products. That led me to build this application called Productify It, which basically does the same thing but gives you a lot more freedom in how you can design your products. So without further ado, let me show you how this works. Alright, so it's done loading. So as you can see, you have a lot more freedom on the image, on the perspective of the image which you want to take. So let's change the front image for this one. Let's go here. I've got one right here in the business section, this one. I'll choose that, and as you can see, this looks quite good. Let's change the spline image now. Let's go here. I'll choose this one. So now, as you can see, this is what we have. I could also change the background, the section. I can make it white. I could change the background as well. I'll design it and be back. Yeah, so this is what I came up with. I know it's not the best design in the world, but this is just to showcase you what can be done. Then after I'm done, I can just take a screenshot. Yeah, so this is the screenshot. Yeah, so this is what we have. That's basically the application. I know it's a very simple application, but it solves the problem of creating that three-dimensional kind of design which we're looking for. So feel free to try it. It's free. So if you could just spare me a minute of your time, I would really appreciate it if you could give me a feedback on this application. It will just take a minute of your time, and if that's too much to ask, that's fine as well. No hard feelings. And if you don't have that image for your three-dimensional product, a good tool would be to use a free resource like Canva. Just go to create design and hit in book cover. I feel as though this works best. The dimensions works best for the application. You have a bunch of different templates which you'll have. Yeah, just choose one which you feel like it. Just change a few things and you can and make sure to download it in the PNG file format. So this is PDF, make sure it's PNG, and you can hit download. Yeah, so now let's go over the stack which I used. So let me go to a new page here and go to Excel. Let's go over the stack which I used. So my framework of choice was Next.js, just because of scalability reasons, the performance, and for SEO reasons. So in that, for the UI part, the canvas which you saw, I have used React 3 Fiber because they have a lot of helpers in React 3 Dray. And for the hosting, I've used AWS Amplify because it's way more cheaper than Vercel. Vercel, I think, is for a month you have to pay $20 if you plan on doing business with the application. So this application being free, or like, I haven't decided yet whether it's free or not, but most probably it's free. Anyway, the first version is. And if I plan to implement the subscription as well, which will probably be around $5, that would mean I would need 4 customers for me to make profits. So I chose the AWS Amplify because it's way more cheaper. They charge you based on usage rather than monthly subscriptions. As you saw in the landing page, I have a video in that. So that is around 150 MB, which I could not put in the folder of in GitHub because they have a limit of 50 MB. So I placed that in an S3 bucket and used CloudFront to stream the data to the UI. In the subsequent videos, I'll be showing you how to do all this, like the subscription part, the S3 part, and needless to say, all of this is open source. You can just check out the repository here. But FYI, I didn't go over all the best practices just because I was the only dev who was working on this, and to me sometimes sticking to best practices just becomes a hindrance, and best practices is usually meant for teams to work effectively, in my opinion anyway. So yeah, so some files may be a little larger than the other. That's just because I found it easier to work with. Anyways, now let's come to the last portion, which is the cost. So yeah, it took me 2 weeks of time to build this, and most of that time was allocated to learning all those new tools which I was using, which is AWS. I find their documentation is sometimes not clear in certain subjects. So yeah, that because of that, the DynamoDB stuff took a lot of time, and it for the domain name, I had to pay $24. And for the AWS part, it was free because when you initially subscribe, I think you get a year free. And yeah, I forgot to mention one more thing. For the database part, I've used DynamoDB. So DynamoDB. So this is used to store all the information, the subscription, the customers. Let's go to AWS and let me show you what we are working with. Yeah, as you can see here, I'm using DynamoDB to collect the information of users regarding their customer ID. This is all basically from Stripe. The invoice, just to be sure I'm collecting all that and is active. By default, everybody's active for now because we are just in the first version and I don't want to charge anyone. Probably that might change if I plan to take this application further, but yeah, this is just in case. The invoice details of the user. I'll be going over some of the interesting parts which I've learned while building this, which I mentioned before. So yeah, that's basically it, and if you've stuck all the way to the end, thank you, I really appreciate it. And if you could give me a feedback on the application, I would sincerely be happy. Thank you, and see you next time.